Howdy, y'all, and let's talk about money, shall we? Today's lesson is entitled Simple Interest. Textbook calls it problem solving using formulas. Chapter 9, Lesson 11. Let's begin. Go ahead, pause, check out assignment 23. Come on back when you're ready. Slightly out of order here. I know we did 24 before 23. Let's go to the back page, pause, and come on back when you're ready. Bring those questions to class, ladies and gents. You know I love questions. The goal for today is to solve real-world problems. We're talking about borrowing money. We're talking about investing money in bank accounts that earn a simple interest rate. Now, as you can understand by the word simple, things are not always that simple in the financial world. In fact, sooner or later, you will be learning about compound interest and how your money can continue to compound and invest and increase at really impressive rates. Still going to use the percent issues, but we're going to use percent with the interest formula. In fact, I would suggest as you stop to settle this, you write this. Actually, I do have some notes. I will put those available. I hope you've opened up those notes. And come on back when you're ready. So where have you heard that term before? Obviously, bank statements, bank loans. I can invest money in a small savings account, earn 1, 2, even 3% sometimes. Money market accounts tend to earn more money than savings accounts. Lows, yeah, that was when interest is not good. And especially credit cards and houses are where Americans, and perhaps people in other communities as well, but Americans build the most debt. So that's something to be careful of. The simple interest formula, ladies and gents, is just this. Interest is equal to P principal times R rate times T time. But let's get into your notes and dive into those a little more, shall we? The I interest is what you're ever trying to seek. Sorry, I wrote a little bigger than the box. Now, what's important here, the principal, not LE, but AL, is the amount of money that goes in. I don't know, beginning, whatever you want to say, it's your notes, right? The R is the rate. But what's important about the rate is you're going to change the percentage to a decimal. More on that later. The T is time. And I will also give you a little sneak peek. The time is almost always, at least for simple interest, calculated in years. But let's talk a little more about that, shall we? Got an example right here. Mrs. Ramirez is investing $400 in a savings account at a simple interest rate of 2% to purchase a laptop computer. Fascinating why anyone would borrow money for a computer. She plans on investing the money for 18 months. Oh, she's not borrowing money. She's investing money. Wake up, Mr. Callan. So based on real world situation, fill in the blanks with the correct numbers. Write the rate as a decimal. Whoa, here we go. Rate as a decimal. And time is expressed in years. That's super important. So there's really not a big deal with the principal. It's $400, right? But the rate, you're not going to write 2%. You're going to change percent to a decimal. We're going to write it as 200s. And time, we're not going to write 18 months. There are 12 months in a year. As you can imagine, it's 1.5 years. So that's going to be really important. Write that in your notes. Make it loud, make it proud. Change the rates to decimal form and change the time always to years, at least for simple interest. Now, I got a few examples here, but I might as well say it now. Today is going to be a calculator day, folks. I'm not going to measure if you know how to multiply, divide, add, or subtract decimals. You already have shown proficiency at that. I would like to measure, do you understand how to find interest? So here we got Jenny putting some money into a savings account. Now, savings accounts often not a very good interest rate. That's the rate here, simple interest. Question, how much interest? No, we're not always going to look for the interest, but in this case we are. 3 years. So what we can do is, okay, what's the principal? Principal is the original amount of money that is invested or put into the savings account. What is the rate? Don't write 2 and 5/10. Remember what we said about percentages. We're going to change it to decimal form. And then 3 years. So now you can go ahead with your Desmos calculator, multiply 1,560 times 25 thousandths, 2.5%, times 3, and you're going to get 117, which means we can write a sentence for that. Jenny will earn $117 in interest in 3 years. Now I'm going to talk pretty fast today, folks, so if you wish, pause, write down what you need, and then we'll move on. Another situation, Again, if you ever want to pause, read it on your own. Some of you, some of us, myself, read better with silence, and then come on back when you're ready. Mrs. Hanover borrows $1,400 at a rate of 5.5% per year. How much simple interest will she pay if she takes 8 months to repay the loan? So we first write the original formula. Interest is equal to principal times rate times time. Now I see the principal. I see the rate changing 5.5% to 5.5 hundredths. Remember, think about that as 5.5 hundredths, 5%, and then a part of a percent. That's where the 5 comes from in the thousands. Naturally, 8 months. You can change that to a decimal if you wish. I'll just choose to write 8/12 because 8 months is 8/12 out of the year. Multiply that using your decimals calculator. This one will go on and on and on and on and on and on. So maybe we should write approximately. Mrs. Hanover will pay about $51.33 in interest over the course of 8 months. Again, pause if you need. Come on back when you're ready for the next example. Office manager charged $425 worth of office supplies on a credit card. The credit card has an interest rate of 9.9%. How much money will he owe at the end of 1 month if he makes no other charges on the card and does not make a payment? Now, most credit cards don't do that. They usually say minimum payment, but we're just going to talk simple interest here. Credit cards is a crazy way to build up a ton of debt fast. So beware and learn, folks. Here we go. $425 was charged. Interest rate, 9.9%. How much money will he owe at the end of 1 month if he makes no other charges on the card and does not make a payment? Now check this out. Principal, nothing complicated. Rate, 9.9%, 9 hundredths, and another 9 thousandths. 1 month would be 1/12, right? So about $3.51 interest, but that does not answer the question. The question did not say how much interest. The question said how much money will he owe? And therefore, ladies and gents, well, there's what I was looking for. The total amount owed would be 425 plus 351, or in other words, $428.51. So pay attention to the question. Sometimes it just asks for the interest, 351. Other times it asks how much is owed, and you'll have to add that with the original principal. In other words, you could say principal plus interest. Now in your book, they call this a amount. And they won't write I interest, they'll write the whole thing. You start with the principal, and then you add all the interest, which is principal times rate times time, and that's what they call a amount. So maybe I'll use that in the future. Pause if you're ready. If you're ready, come on back. Justin borrowed $500, 2 years, paid $105. Oh, hello, this is interest. The question is not how much interest. The question is what is the rate? Therefore, when we substitute in the numbers, check out what we got. It tells us how much interest is paid. It tells us the principal, and it tells us the time. What we don't have is the rate. So this becomes an equation, ladies and gents, that must be solved. Now you might imagine, why say 2 times 500? Well, 2 times 500 times r, you could simply rewrite as 1,000 r. And now you can imagine where we're going to go to solve. If we want r by itself, we have to eliminate that 1,000. How do we do so? Well, if you need to, write the multiplication symbol in there. We know that we undo multiplication with division. We're going to divide both sides of this equation by 1,000. Naturally, when you divide by a power of 10, you can move the decimal point, in this case, 3 times, to find 105,000th in decimal form. But I'll be honest, we usually like to write the interest rate as a percent. So we'll change that to 10 and 5/10%. Let's do one more, shall we? Two different companies, two different investments. The question we have is, which will have a greater account balance? in the given periods of time and explain. So let's go ahead and use the big one, as in don't just find the principal times the rate times the time, the interest. Let's add the principal with all that stuff. Therefore, first amount, $1,500. Now, to find the interest, we multiply 1,500 times the rate, 3%. We're going to change that to decimal form, times the time of 30 years. And when we compute those, we will get a total amount of $2,850. All right, now let's take a look at the other one. Again, we're not just trying to find the interest, but we're finding the total value after that time period. So let's begin. Oh, still 1,500. Now this one has a different interest rate, 4.5%. 4% is 400. So let's put the thousands place in there. And this is for 15 years. Sorry, I'm squeezing that in. Let me tidy that up a bit, shall we? So 4.5%, I see 400ths, and then another half of a hundredth or a thousandth. Multiply that by 15 years. If we were to add this up, we would have a total amount of $2,513.00. So despite the fact this has a higher interest rate, that should show you the power of time in building up your money. And folks, this is just simple interest. Wait till you learn later on how to find compound interest and what that can do for you. That's what I got for you today, ladies and gents. Feel free to rewind. I know I talked kind of fast today. Assignment, page 261, 1 to 14, and page 265, numbers 45 and 46. Let's grow. See you guys.